Hey everybody, today we're going to show you the best places to farm ore here in Palworld, so without further ado, let's jump into it. So our first location is going to be pretty close to Spawn Island. As we zoom in here, you guys can see our exact location with the pickaxe marker on the screen. We're going to be just west of the fort ruins, fast travel up on this mountainside. And once you get up here, you can see it's a pretty nice place for a base. There's not a lot of room up here as this mountain is pretty small, but it is nice to have one up here. There's only a couple different ways that you can get attacked during a raid. You also have a nice little bridge that leads across the river to the other mountain here beside us. But again, pretty cool place to set up a base if you're looking to farm some ore. Our second location is going to be found pretty close to Spawn Island as well, right over here by the Desolate Church. You guys can see our pickaxe location here on the map, and directly behind the Desolate Church, fast travel. Once you make your way over here, you'll see literally right behind the church is going to be your little cluster of ore down here. Not a great spot for a legitimate base if you want to set up a crazy base over here. Not the best unless you want the church involved. But as you can see, there's not a whole lot of room up here. You've got the giant rock that's pretty neat. But you can get attacked from multiple different directions here and just really not a whole lot of space, but a pretty cool spot to set up a POW box if you're looking to just farm ore in a specific location. Our third location is also pretty close to the starting point here in the game, as we're going to be over here by the sandy and rocky part of the island. We're going to be on the southern side. As we zoom in here, you guys can see exactly where our pickaxe marker is. And this is actually a pretty decent spot. You have a lot of room. You guys can see all of our ore rocks, but up here is a pretty awesome spot if you want to set up an actual base, as the only real direction they can come from is right over here where we're shooting with Jetragon on accident. You also have this giant plateau area right up here where there's plenty of space to put some things. So if you're looking to have like a multi-level base, you can put your POW box somewhere here in the middle and have a couple different layers if you're trying to be like super creative or unique or whatever. But a really, really good spot, again, if you're just looking for somewhere to put down a POW box so that you can farm ore. Our fourth location is going to be found closer to the middle of the map. You guys can see exactly where we zoom in here. It's going to be just to the west of the Investigator's Fork fast travel. But right up here on this mountainside, when you get up here, it'll be pretty easy to spot, as you have like 10 ore nodes up here. There's plenty of them. The only downside about this location is I wouldn't recommend building a legitimate base up here, because everything is on a really slanted hill, and it can be a real pain to build if you're actually trying to build a real base. So again, this is just a decent spot to put a POW box down so that you come here every once in a while to collect a bunch of ore. Our fifth location is going to be found just east of the volcano region and just southwest of the Ascetic Falls fast travel. You guys can see that location here. We're going to be right down here in this patch of sand where you can see the Fangalope level 25 boss. And once you make your way down here, you'll see that we do have several ore nodes. The only downside about this location is that you do have the Syndicate camp right next to you. That could be a good thing, could be a bad thing if you want to take your time to just come over here all the time and rescue whatever's in the cage. You also have a really nice view up here. You guys can see behind you, it actually looks insane. So if you're looking to maybe build a base up here on the hill, you could do so right up here above where the ore is, and maybe connect part of that with your base. But again, another location if you're looking to farm some ore. Now our sixth location is going to be found on the southeastern side of the Hypocrite Hill fast travel. You can see as we zoom in here right where our pickaxe is, and here's the Hypocrite Hill fast travel. Now you want to be careful over here in this area. There are several ore nodes here on the ground, as you can see just below the hill where the camp is. But because you have that camp here, you're going to deal with several soldiers in the area, as well as pals fighting them and maybe fighting you. So this one can be quite annoying. There are a whole bunch of nodes, so it is nice. It does look good. They're all really close together, but it can be quite frustrating dealing with all these soldiers, especially if you're really low level. So not necessarily worth coming out here if you haven't made it too far into the game. But again, another spot that you can get some ore. Now our seventh location is definitely one of my favorites here on the map. This one's going to be found just south of the first little snowy biome that you'll encounter, as well as the Tower of the Free PAL Alliance. If you make your way just south of that area on this mountaintop, right where we have our pickaxe, and you can see my arrow, when you get up here, you're going to have several ore nodes, which is a really cool thing. But also, this is one of the greatest spots in the game, as you're on top of a pretty much perfectly circular mountain. It is a little bit bumpy. If you're looking to make a legit base up here, it can get a little frustrating trying to build something neat just because of all the bumps that are up here. But if you take a look around, the view is absolutely immaculate. A really, really cool spot to set up camp and pretty difficult to get attacked by a raid up here being on top of this giant mountain. You may just run into a couple of these bee guards that are hanging out or that spawn in the area, but once you build up a base and get everything going, you shouldn't have to worry too much about that. But again, really awesome spot to mine some ore. But these are the best locations for farming ore here in Palworld. Hopefully this video helped some of you guys out. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.